Okay. Hi, Brent Terhune.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I said it right? Terhune.
Yes.
All right. I hear this is a very popular name in Indiana.
Yeah, the movie Hoosiers. I think it's been a while since I've seen the movie.
Yeah.
But I think they play the school Terhune, and then there's also a Terhune, Indiana, which I've driven through, and apparently I'm the mayor. So there's not much.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to Grand Rapids. How have you been here before?
I have many times. Yeah, and I was just here recently for Gilda's Laugh Fest.
How great is that?
Yeah, so I'm back.
So
they
much
like
fun.
me enough to have me back again.
We like a bearded ginger in this town.
You know what? Yeah.
Can we?
'Tis the season. I'm look like Yukon Cornelius from Rudolph. So
yeah. Can you it's okay to say ginger, right? Because there's some revolt against calling gingers. I wanted to say the right.
No, you gotta acknowledge what I am. I'm getting sunburnt right now here in the studio. So this is great. Thank
Move
you
the
for
ring light.
having me in a new bulb day.
So you've done some radio. You went to radio broadcast school?
Yeah, I went to the University of Indianapolis. Go Dogs.
Okay.
Well, Greyhounds, but and I went to school. I started stand up when I was 16, and I knew kind of going into college that I wanted to do stand up as a career, but I had a scholarship because I was smart and poor.
Yeah.
Still the same.
Yay.
And so I was like, hey, I want to do radio. So I did radio, and then I was quickly became an intern for the Bob and Tom show.
What a gig.
Yeah.
I mean, how long ago was this?
Oh, I graduated in 2012. So, and the thing about the school was that you got to I think first semester I was on air only in the dorms, but then after that I was on air on the 88.7 WICR, jazz and classical music. That's a cut above.
I love this. I love that we had one in Detroit called Specs Howard, and they now of course everything's digital, but they had each format, and you could go in there and do a show, and you could hear. I think that's great.
It was weird because it was jazz, so you're throwing these teenagers in. And I didn't know anything about jazz. They offered a jazz class through the university, so I took that. Now I appreciate jazz, but when you're saying artists that you don't even know how to say their name, so we would play Sade, Sade.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to say it, so I'd be like, coming up, we have Sade. And then the listeners were so good, they would call up and critique us. I'm like, you're saying it wrong.
Took some notes. I was listening, Brent. Took a few notes.
Yeah.
But you're a writer, though. Do you write your comedy? Like, are you one of those? Do you do a lot of crowd work, or do you one of those you have a script and you write?
I've prepared some statements, but I can talk to the audience too. It's sometimes with crowd work and stuff, which is kind of the trend now. You go on TikTok or Instagram, and it's comedians talking to the crowd. You can't really replicate that. What happens during that show is probably going to happen once. Sure. And then, because I've had jokes that hit where I'm just talking to the audience. I'm like, well, that was funny. Let me try and do that. And it never works, but I'm a writer. I have 2 comedy albums out. I have a comedy special on Amazon. So I'm a better writer than I am a performer. But recently I was taking acting classes during the pandemic and on Zoom. So it was I'm getting better as a performer. Thankfully, 19 years into comedy.
Oh my God. Have you gone right now? Well, now is your time. It's not over. Are you going on auditions? Like, do you do that? Have you gone on an audition? Tell me about that. Like,
it's weird to be on auditions, of course, with Zoom, and you can self-tape and stuff like that.
Right.
And then you get to watch what people actually did on the show. So one of my favorite shows is the Righteous Gemstones with Danny McBride. And something I was like, oh, I'll audition for this. And then of course didn't get it, or at least it's been 2 years. I think they're going to contact me.
Sure. They will. There's another season.
Yeah. But then you see the guy who gets it and you're like, well, I wasn't even close,
Right. Why'd you even call me for the,
so part of it was like, oh, that guy was clear. I wasn't even close. I don't feel bad at all.
That's like the call coming from inside the house. That's like, we're hiring somebody, but we'll interview you, but we already got a guy.
Yeah.
I hate that. That happens in radio a lot too.
Yeah. So it's been a lot of fun. My acting teacher was like the lady from Mad Men. She was Peggy's mom. Her name was Myra Turley. I kind of just got hooked up with her via a bunch of people, and she's very intimidating. She'll let you know. And it was, to do acting, one is out of my comfort zone, which is how you grow as a person. And then she would critique you, and I'm acting with people all over the country. It was really such a unique experience.
Here's your thing though. You're extreme. Let me tell you about you.
Okay.
No, you come off extremely reserved, which in and of itself is dry and funny, kind of.
Yeah.
Like I already know that there's going to be a punch. Like, you know, I kind of like that. And so acting is definitely out of your, like, you know, physical stuff is out of your, but probably because you're so reserved in real life that you'd be a hell of an actor. Do you know what I mean? Like they say, people who are quiet are great singers. People who, you know,
and I'm not comparing myself to Robin Williams, but sometimes when he would do interviews, very, you know,
dry and cold. Yeah.
And then when you see him turn on Robin Williams and like, oh, this guy had a lot inside of him. So I'm not saying I'm Robin Williams at all, but
no, whatever.
I love to be silly. I love to, if the joke is on me, by all means, let's laugh at me.
I'm good with that. Right. Well, that's good. So you do, you write for Bob and Tom, and I'm thinking what album, because I've got their old CDs. This is before your time though.
I have some too.
I want to say, I mean, I can't every single time. My dad is 91. Every single time my sister brings him cider. I got to go, what brand is that? Dickens? Like I can't stand it. And it's one of my favorite time. I mean, they're, you know, Tom and I actually had to do, this thing called Morning Show Boot Camp.
Okay.
And Tom we were on a panel together one time and we know some of the same people. And another one, dry, brilliant. He's just deadpan brilliant. It's amazing.
Yeah. And
amazing.
Tom is a guy that's like, I've known him for 11 or 12 years, but we're not buddy, you know, but he, just to be around him when I am on the show or just know things about him, like the guy is such a driven guy. I feel like he's got to work for his personality, and he's so funny and so generous. He's helped so many people's careers. You know, there's the Tonight Show, you do the set, and then Johnny Carson called you over to the couch, and then tomorrow you have a sitcom.
Yeah.
Like for radio, that was Bob and Tom. They're putting people on air, and then there are people that have careers because they've been on that show for years.
I'm trying to think of who. Craig Shoemaker, who's a friend of mine.
Greg Hahn, Greg Warren. Miss Pat is a newer one, you know.
Wow. Our friend from here, David Dyer, has been on many times, and he sets a great, you know, he's having a good career.
And they're very generous, and the whole crew has been nice. So, and the off chance, you know, when I'm on the show is great. Everybody's nice, and they set you up to win. And what I do is I write jokes for the news stories that you hear. So like just last night for this morning, one of my favorites was somebody left an urn full of ashes in a movie theater. So I just love that news story because it's been months.
They did? Where the hell was that?
I don't remember the town. There's 15 news stories a night probably, but it's one of those where like this urn has been at the theater for months because they're like, surely somebody's going to come back and get the urn. But, you know, I'm sure the movie theater's like, no outside ashes, please. We sell them at the concession stand.
Right. God, I'm trying to look at me now. I'm trying to like, that's up there with the old drive-in joke.
What was the joke?
You're about the two guys who froze at the drive-in? They went to see clothes for the season.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
So something like the guy was a human and then he died. Okay, all right. See, look, I like
We're doing it. This is our show.
We're doing it. What do you need? Like, can I see? I got some suggestions. I took some. No,
please. Sade.
Sade. Well, where are you living now?
I'm from Indianapolis. I live in Indianapolis.
You live in India. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm gonna die there. No, I just live there now. So
okay, your whole family's from Indianapolis. That's where you're born from, Indiana. Do you have brothers and sisters? What's your deal? Where are you in the birth order?
I'm the youngest, and my wife is like you know, you said I'm kind of an introvert, but she's got 50 cousins, and I've been, you know, married for 5 years, but been with her for 10. So this holiday season, I'm still meeting. I'm like, who's that? And she's like, I kind of don't know.
She Italian?
No.
Oh, because I mean,
white trash. So that's what it is.
Cousins, brothers, same thing, whatever.
Yeah, we were at a wedding recently, and her dad leaned to me, and he was like, "Who's that?" I'm like, I'm the newer guy. What are you talking about?"
That's, you know what? That's how, like, we have these family reunions, these Italian family reunions, and people come up from Joliet, Indiana. I don't
even know where that is.
I'll tell you what, Joliet, Indiana. It's where There is a train station there because that's where the mafia would take it up to Muskegon, the train up to Muskegon.
Yeah.
So, I can't, there's literally a Vito and a Vincenzo and I mean, and they're all, my grandma would be like, don't talk to them.
Yeah.
Like, but so we have cousins, we don't know. But so will you do a big Christmas?
Like, they do for sure. Big Christmas and big Thanksgiving. Like and I can sit back and kind of watch the show because there's bigger personalities in the family. Wow. So I like to sit back and watch.
That's material.
Last year we had a Santa come to Christmas. They hired a guy.
They hired a guy?
I think it was the Santa. So
did the kids, I mean, my dad was a Santa. Okay. My dad was a Santa, not a mall Santa because I was weird, but he was a Santa. He had like the really expensive $800 Santa suit, right? And when our kids were little, I have one little guy, and when all of us kids had kids, my dad would come to the house, and the kids would be like, Santa. My kid comes down the stairs in his little diaper. He looks at me, and goes, "Hi, Grandpa." Like right away, knew. Like I thought, oh, I got a smart one.
Yeah,
one smart one.
I have a friend that's a comedian, Dave Wilson, and I'm gonna eventually I will be him. You know, I'm gonna have the white beard because one time this guy comes to me. We're at the Indiana State Fair because I wanted to look handsome in comparison to everybody.
So you're at the Indiana State Fair? Wow.
Yeah. This guy hands me a card. He's like, "You should join us." And it was the like Indiana Santa's convention. I'm like, this is not a compliment, right? Like,
oh, right. You're not doing it. Someday that red beard is going to be.
Yeah.
Because the younger Kris Kringle in A Town Without a Santa Claus, or A Town That Christmas Sent Almost Was, he had a red beard.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
That's it. Santa Claus.
Mickey Rooney. Yeah.
Heat Miser and Snow.
That's a different one.
Okay.
But yeah, he had the red hair. So I'm getting some white in my hair and stuff. So
okay.
Yeah, but I was like, come on, man. This is not a compliment. You look like you have sleep apnea and could wear boots and a suit in the winter. So
somebody actually said to me, you could lose 10 pounds. I was not aware. Thank you.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Right. Or you look good for that. Or you look good for that age. Or you look
people
good.
always say they're younger. I'm like, I'm 52. And people are like, well, you look good for 52. That's not true. But
I was going to say, you're 12. Yeah, you're very young. Now, how long have you been married?
5 years.
How long did you meet, or how'd you meet your wife?
We met at a show outside of a show, and we say it was white trash. We say it was a show, but now it's more acceptable. We were on one of the dating apps. Yeah. So this has been like the longest one night stand of my life.
She came up and flirted with the comic. We kind
of like, I have a show. Let's meet at the show.
So,
when I proposed to her, I took her back to where we met. And of course the comedy club's not there because that's the kind of places I do besides Dr. Grin's.
Right.
And, no, the comedy club is not there. And in its place is a Hooters. So that's where I proposed, was right there. I was like, on that spot, it still means something to us. And we love Halloween. That's our big holiday. We had a Halloween wedding.
We
got
did?
engaged on Halloween.
But wait, back up, record scratch, back up. What do you guys do? Your best couple's costume for Halloween. What do you do?
Oh, we don't. But that's the thing. We don't ever do costumes. I guess our best costume was on our wedding, Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein.
I like you now. You're back in now.
Yeah, we hand out candy and all that stuff. So we're big horror fans. The room where I do most of my writing is full of horror toys. So I got her a Chucky doll. So when we hand out candy at our house, she has the Chucky doll on her lap. Oh. And so many kids will be like, I'm not going up there with Chucky. We're like, I didn't realize how scary Chucky was, but I guess if you're the same size as Chucky,
he's pretty scary. Yeah. He's pretty scary. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's the best? See, I can't do horror movies. The Exorcist.
But do you love true crime podcasts?
I love them.
It's the set.
I love murder.
True in the title.
Yeah. I like murder. I'll do murder.
Yeah, and yours happened outside on the street. Right there. There's one right up there.
It could happen to me. By the way, true story. I had to call 911 this morning. True story.
Okay.
My garage went up and there was a guy standing at the end of my driveway. True story. This morning. It happened this morning.
And what happened?
And he was kind of drunk, and I live in like a neighbor. But so I called 911 because I was alone. It freaked me out. 4 a.m. So 4 cops show up, and he was staggering down the street, and they said, "Do you want him arrested for prowling,
drunken
prowling?" And I said, no, it was freezing. I said, just take him home, I guess. They go, do you want him? They said, do you want him trespassed?
I just want him gone.
Yeah, we're using trespass now as a noun, and it's a verb. Anyway, I'm like, okay, whatever. And I said, no, could you just take him home, I guess? But it freaked me out. But But yeah, that's a true crime.
You called him an Uber.
Had he stabbed me in the back, that would have been a true crime podcast that I might have listened to.
Thank God we're not talking about that.
I know it. That was weird.
You said he was all stumbly.
This took a turn. Yeah, I think he was just hammered.
Yeah,
but at 4 a.m. in the middle of my.
That's what I call Mortal Kombat drunk. You know, at the end of Mortal Kombat when the guy's all woozy like that, I was like, oh, that guy's Mortal Kombat drunk. He's about to fall down.
Poor guy. I mean, I felt more bad for him, but then yet I was still freaked out because he was like walking in circles and he kind of hid behind a tree, which that freaked me out. I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah. There's so many of those stories that we get every week of a guy was drunk on something and then he end up in the ceiling of a seafood restaurant or something like that. You know,
mine is though The Exorcist. I don't like the weird satanic that kind of crap.
Yeah,
because I went to Catholic schools and the nuns scared the crap
too.
out of you.
13 years.
You did,
Catholic
dude.
school.
High five. Right, we're survivors. I mean, oh my God, because we had the nuns. Yours was after Vatican II, so I went in the 60s and 70s.
We had a few nuns, but we didn't get any Latin or anything like that.
No, we got. You didn't have to smack yourself with the ruler.
No, they did that for us.
Yeah, so you guys do. So you and your wife, you got a horror wedding. I love that.
I do a horror movie podcast every week too. It's called "They're Coming to Get You," like from Night of the Living Dead. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Yeah.
Barbara, your favorite movie?
Halloween. Movie. Halloween's my favorite.
Why?
It's just I just like the story. It's very simple. It's a guy chasing after the babysitter. And the music is great. John Carpenter's a great composer.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, and I like The Exorcist. You know, that's on people's list of, top scary movies.
It's terrible. I can't watch it all the way through.
My mom was like, I was like, we're doing The Exorcist on the podcast. And she's like, yeah, your brother hated that. I'm like, well, when did you let him watch? She was like 8. I was like, why were you letting an 8-year-old watch The Exorcist?
And there you go.
That's too young.
I let my 7-year-old nephew watch Jaws.
Yeah, that's good. That's a PG movie still.
Even though PG?
So that's Steven Spielberg, him and like Poltergeist and Gremlins, a Christmas movie, where adults are just getting killed. That's PG. That's that Steven Spielberg can talk the ratings board into, because I think Gremlins was like the last movie before they're like, we got to do a PG-13
because there were boobs in Jaws.
Jaws at the very beginning.
Yes, that's boobs.
That's part of the movie, if you ask me. So.
Right. I'm a movie buff too, just not horror movie buff. I like throw a good, A24 or throw me a good something nobody's heard of that's grimy. I'll do that, or an actor nobody knows who just kills it in a movie. Right now, are you streaming anything? What are you watching right now, or what's a must watch for you?
We've been watching the show. It's called From. It's on MGM Plus.
Yeah.
So it's Harold. I don't know how you say his last name. Perrineau.
Yeah.
Maybe he's from Lost and Oz. So it's kind of a Twilight Zone-y Stephen King. They show up in a town and then they can't leave the town. It's horror, but I would say it's very accessible to a normie like you.
Well, and I already want to watch it.
Okay.
So and there's a bus from Grand Rapids, Michigan that lands there.
Yeah. Okay.
That busload of people, they're from Grand Rapids.
Okay. Did you know anybody on that bus?
No, but anytime Grand Rapids is depicted, we look like a bunch of hicks.
Well, I'm from Indiana, so come on. Hicks are everywhere.
Same thing.
You could go to New York State and there's some hicks there too.
Well, I am glad that you're here in Grand Rapids all weekend. Listen, Brent, when people want to find you when you're not on stage, where can we find you? Tell us about you.
BrentComedy.com is my website. And then there's links to all the other social media stuff that you ever wanted to know about me. And if you do look me up, the thing that people know me from is a satirical character. He's a truck rant guy. He sits in the truck and he rants about what's been going on. So if people if they know who I am, it's from that guy. His name is Alpha Male. I just was in the LA Times in November, and then it's been a year since I was like on the front page of the LA Times below the fold. But
it matters, still matters.
Yeah, they did a whole profile on me, and I was because of the character, I was like Variety's comic to watch for 2020. And so that character, and just like I had the most viewed video ever for me, 9 million views. Like the very beginning of November. Yeah. So
are you on like, do you do snippets on TikTok at all?
I got to do you do all the social media stuff. Yeah. I'm on all that.
I got to go follow you then.
Yeah. So if people know who I am, it's because of that character. And if you don't know, and you're like, well, I don't like this guy, he's got some thoughts on some things. I'm like, it's a character.
It's not who I really am.
Yeah,
I'm just a guy.
I digest instead of I digress. And what on flat Earth is going on? He's very conspiratorial. So yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, welcome to Grand Rapids again. We're glad you're here,
you guys.
He's at Dr. Grin's all weekend long. Check him out, and we'll put all the links below or above the podcast. Give us a like and a follow. I feel so desperate saying that. Give us a like and a follow. Like you know what? I was a chunky girl growing up. I was going two bills.
Me too.
Probably. And desperation is my thing. Yeah. Give us a like and a follow. Please love me.
I travel to different towns because I'm confident.
Yeah.
I want you to like me because I'm doing well emotionally.
Right, that's what it is. Right. Yeah. Right. Please ask me to prom. All right. Thanks for coming in, Brent.
Good to see you.
All right. We'll see you all weekend. Dr. Grin.